Welcome to Mindfulness for the Soul, your daily dose of mental health insights, with your host, John Tsilimparis.
As we collectively experience this pandemic emergency due to the spread of the coronavirus, and as we make our way through a new norm of social distancing and practicing shelter in place, it's important to find different ways of managing the excessive worry and fear that is hitting us all very hard. It's hit us hard in so many profound ways, from abruptly disrupting our daily routines and losing some of our freedoms, to worrying a lot about our lives and the lives of loved ones, to losing our jobs and our businesses, and to the frightening possibility of complete economic collapse. We are floating in unprecedented, uncharted waters never seen or experienced before. This pandemic has upended our world as we know it. It has also kicked us out of our comfort zone. But we don't need to live like exiles from our previously established comfort zones. Via mindfulness, we can instead create a new comfort zone, but not a comfort zone based on immediate results or conceptual needs, and not a comfort zone based on surface thinking or on future-based projections, which is what's causing people the most distress right now. And I, of course, naturally understand why, because I'm feeling the same way. This would be creating a new comfort zone simply based on the present, right now, this minute. I know that sounds a little woo-woo and oversimplified, but here's an opportunity for us to look at the adversity that we are all facing as an agent of change. It's an opportunity to alter our day-to-day moments and to establish being more present, which subsequently leads to a calmer state of mind. So the first thing I want you to do is to sit in a quiet place, if your situation allows, and try to relax your muscles by letting the muscles of your body sag and droop into your skeletal system. In other words, don't tense your body and don't try to hold up any part of your body. Do the melt. Just melt or sink into wherever you are sitting. Then, I simply want you to mindfully be aware that you are breathing. And while you are focusing on your breathing, try to become aware of yourself. Again, not your ego self, not your conceptual self, not your worries, and not your projections about the future. Your thinking itself is simply an impediment here. This is the practice of getting you in touch with your deeper self. As you focus on your breathing, try to remember that you are also going to notice sensory perceptions. Pay attention to the sounds that you hear. Do you hear street noises? Do you hear the wind blowing against trees? Do you hear birds chirping? Also, can you smell anything? Can you smell freshly cut grass? Someone's home cooking? If your eyes are open, what are you seeing? What are you noticing? Then, pay attention to what your body feels at the moment too. Is it tense? Is it relaxed? Can you feel your back and your bottom against the chair or the couch that you are sitting on? Can you feel the floor under your feet? Be an observer and simply notice. So, by focusing on all these things in the present, you can get underneath the fearful thoughts of worry and fear even for a moment. It's hard to believe, but being present in this moment to what is here, in the now, right now, has evidence-based value in calming the central nervous system. This is called self-regulation. So imagine a vast ocean during a severe storm. Hurricane-like winds are blowing, gigantic waves are crashing around. The ocean surface rises and falls with fierce unpredictability. Yet, Regardless of the condition of the surface of the ocean, if we dip below and go underneath the surface, it is calm, it is serene, and perhaps even peaceful. Our surface thoughts right now are the same: tumultuous, scary, chaotic, unpredictable. They are naturally in turmoil because of our current fears of how long this pandemic emergency will last, and are we going to suffer any personal losses? So, practicing being in the present, as we discussed, is again like slipping underneath the ocean of your frightened thoughts and accessing the quiet of your mind. This is what it is to be in the present. And if it's for 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your day, it will help. Try to use this auspicious time to awaken a different level of consciousness within you. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we learn to develop a different way of relating to the storm of our negative thoughts. This different time in our lives is the perfect time to practice this. So the next time you are in a state of panic about anything related to this pandemic emergency, take 5 minutes and pull back. Just remember that temporarily, just temporarily, you are simply too attached to desperately wanting answers above the surface, the kinds of answers that don't exist right now. Above the surface thinking will cause you suffering. But as Eckhart Tolle tells us, we are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. He also says, life isn't as serious as the mind makes it out to be. So come back to the present moment by focusing on your breathing, focusing on your sensory perceptions, focusing on your body. We can all learn to alter our consciousness. There's a famous parable that is reflective of this process. Whenever I read it, it soothes me and calms my fears. So here it is. A woman is running from tigers. She runs, and the tigers are getting closer and closer. When she comes to the edge of a cliff, she sees some vines there, so she climbs down and holds onto the vines. Looking down, she sees that there are tigers below her as well. She then notices that a mouse is gnawing away at the vine to which she is clinging. She also sees a beautiful bunch of strawberries close to her, growing out of a clump of grass. She looks up and she looks down. She looks at the mouse. Then she takes a strawberry, puts it in her mouth, and enjoys it thoroughly. Tigers above, tigers below. This is the predicament we are always in. Each moment is just what it is. It might be the only moment of our life. It might be the only strawberry we'll ever eat. We could get depressed and worried about it, or we can accept the value of this very moment. So the parable is obvious. The woman, despite the notion that she is perhaps close to death by falling off the cliff or being eaten by tigers, still reaches for the strawberry and mindfully enjoys it. She has not, however, forgotten about her current predicament. She may well be at death's door, yet she remains present for the one moment of eating the strawberry. The point being, the tigers in our lives will never stop coming. We are always in this type of predicament, except, of course, in varying degrees. So we must find moments to stop and recognize the tigers chasing us are simply fearful thoughts and our negative projections. And for many, they also represent our negative reflections about the past too. If we pause and reorient ourselves each time we feel panicked, it will become easier to dip beneath the surface and calm our minds. So, as we move forward in the new norm of quarantine and shelter in place, don't forget to look for the strawberries in your day-to-day existence. The strawberries are there, I promise. Thanks again for listening to another episode of Mindfulness for the Soul. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you can all hang in there in the next few weeks and in the next few months. This is John Tsilimparis, MFT.